Hello, Hollywood Time viewers. I'm Judy Shields. Thanks for tuning in. Today we welcome country music singer-songwriter Michael Peterson. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
Hey Judy, I'm doing good. Thank you very much.
Where you dialing in from?
I'm in Las Vegas. I've lived here for 13 years. I love it.
Las Vegas, like
Yeah.
one of the cities outside or in Las Vegas?
Well, I'm actually in Las Vegas.
Well, there you go. What took you to
Yeah.
Las Vegas?
Well, I moved here 13 years ago because I found a house I liked. And at the stage of my career I was at that time, it didn't really matter if I lived in Nashville or not because all my work was on the road.
Yeah,
So Vegas has a great airport. I found a house with a great price and lots of sunshine. So off we went.
good for you. Yeah, it's about a 3 hour drive from down here where I
I
live.
know.
It's
It's
like
great. I love that drive. And they're putting in the train, right?
supposed to happen, Night Branch Cucamonga. So we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, yeah.
That's going to happen. And hopefully they'll have press days and I'll come up and visit.
Well, that'd be great. 2 hours. Like, wouldn't that be amazing to get to LA in 2 hours or Vegas? And it would help the traffic that is so crazy going back and forth on the weekends here.
It's terrible. You have to leave at 9 o'clock on Friday morning to get there and leave
I
Sunday
know.
morning or Monday morning, stay over. It's just something, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. So, but you know what? When you get to Santa Monica and you look at the ocean, you say, ah,
That's right. Good way
yeah,
of putting it. That's for sure. Wow. So I understand that you have teamed up with StarVista Music to bring
yeah,
two of your beloved albums to the fans in a whole new way. Down on the Farm and
yeah,
We Are Veterans is now
yeah.
available digitally for the first time across all major streaming platforms as of today, right? May
As of
22nd?
today, yeah, it's perfect. People say, well, how come we never heard these albums before? Well, these albums were both made for unique purposes, and so they were never released commercially.
Oh,
The first album was an album that, well, I've been privileged. Let me step back for a second. I've been privileged to perform over 500 concerts for service members deployed in Iraq and Afghanistan, Korea, and military families and military veterans in the U.S. over the years. And about halfway through that journey, around the 250 mark, I began to recognize that there was a handful of songs that the people were responding to in such a strong way. And I started getting more requests than I could fulfill in person. And I thought, well, I should make an album so that the album can be there when I can't, so that this music could be there and shared with people. So um, I made this We Are Veterans record, and it was never really designed to be commercially released. Sort of when I made it, it was just something I was doing for the veterans and military families. And then the Down on the Farm album was a special album I did with the New Holland Tractor Farm Equipment Manufacturing Company, the blue tractors, if you remember those big blue tractors you've seen. And we did it as a special project for FFA, the Future Farmers of America, and for the American Cancer Society as a fundraiser. So we scheduled a lot of concerts at New Holland dealerships across North America. I would come and do the concert. They would sell the CDs at the concert for $20 or $25 a pop, and all the money would go to these organizations. So over a period of about 3 years, we raised a lot of money using this CD, but it was never really created for anything other than for that purpose. So when I signed this deal with Star Vista, they said, wow, we love these albums. How come nobody's ever heard these? And I said, well, I love that you love them. So what are we going to do about it? So they said, well, we should put them out. So these are albums that, if you've never heard them before, they are literally new music for you. And so these are new albums, new releases for me, and there's more to come. There's a third album that will come in the fall of a previously unreleased album called In Black. And then I also have a new album that I'm working on currently that will come later in the year of brand new recordings that are really literally hot off the griddle. So,
so that's so cool, Michael. Wow. See, it's just time is priceless, right? You just don't
well, it
know
is.
what's going to happen.
And sometimes you make something and you think it's for one thing, and then you realize maybe it had another purpose. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity, to share this music with people.
Oh, I can't wait to share it with our viewers. So, they each contain 10 songs. Did you write these songs? Co-write? Tell us.
I wrote most of the songs.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, there's a song. There's some songs on there that are personal stories. There's a song called "The Man" on the Veterans album called "The Man They Sent Back Home," which I wrote about my uncle Jim, and it's about a guy who went to Vietnam. And key line in the song says, "The man they sent back home is not the boy they sent away." It's a powerful statement about the experience that many veterans have is that war changes people. There's a great song on there called "You Could Hear a Pin Drop," and I wrote it about my grandfather who never talked about his military service until he was close to dying. And when he finally talked about it, he was like, I can't remember what happened last week, but I can't forget my friend who I held as he died. You know, um, you could hear a pin drop. I mean, everybody just fell silent, when he said that because he never talked about this stuff. There's a great song in there, a great recording of the song "He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother,"
Oh,
which with the old Hollies hit, which I recorded with the Hall of Fame gospel quartet, the Imperials. And we recorded that for a friend of ours who had been wounded, terribly wounded. We left half of his brain in Iraq in a roadside bomb explosion. We recorded this song to raise money for his family because they didn't have much insurance and they were struggling financially. There's a great song in there called "Wave On, Old Glory, Wave On," which I didn't write. Was written by Jim Weatherly and I forget who else the other writer was. Uh, um, Jim Weatherly and I can't think of his name. I'm sorry. Please forgive me for forgetting. But
okay.
um, this is a patriotic song that is one of the most moving patriotic songs I've ever heard about the flag. So these are songs that were handpicked by the military people that heard these concerts and said, those are our favorites. So, I mean, I could go on and on, but there's just great songs that some are born out of my life experience personally, and I wrote about them. Some are songs that spoke about my life experiences, so I wanted to put them on the record.
Yeah, I always like to ask songwriters like you and about their songs, especially an album
Yeah,
and how you got the inspiration for it. So that was kind of one of my questions that you just kind of went
yeah,
into. I mean, this is something for Memorial Weekend, it's
yeah,
download this, get it, and share it with those
yeah,
that have served and families that have maybe lost someone or has someone in military right
yeah.
now.
There,
Stuff.
there's a song on there called "The Old Army Hat," which is our first single off the album, and that's a true story
Oh,
written about a World War II veteran who really this song follows his journey from coming home from the war to him being an old man going to the World War II memorial where he has an auspicious meeting with a young boy all around this army hat that this soldier, this veteran wore his whole life. It's a powerful, moving story, true story about something that happened at the World War II memorial. So these aren't songs about the military. These are songs sort of born out of all of these experiences that are the really true to life experiences.
yeah, I see another song here called "I Remember America."
Written by the great John. I can't think of his name. He. Uh,
That's
you know what? I
okay.
have to look. Let me grab that um, because it's worth saying this. I remember America. I have to say this. It was written by John Stewart. You know John Stewart.
Wow.
Right, the great John Stewart, right, who wrote so many songs for Fleetwood Mac and had his own hits and was in the Kingston Trio and
Wow.
the great John Stewart. So he wrote this song, and when I heard it, I was just blown away by it. And I wrote to him and I asked him if I could have permission to update it because some of the imagery was sort of stuck in the '60s, and he gave me permission to do an update on the lyric. It's just one of those songs that makes you remember, like, wow, how things have changed, and there's things that have changed that I wish hadn't changed.
Powerful. I have to ask you about this one. Let them in, Peter.
That's a song that was written by the great folk singer. Golly, I wish I would have thought about looking at the writers' names ahead of time. But this song is a true story about a poem that was found in an attic, in a chest in an attic, and it was a poem that was written that had been there for 50 years, that was found by this a relative of this person who had deceased, and it was a poem that was written the night on the eve of a battle that was going to happen in World War II, and it was a poem that basically said for the those who are going to die, let them in, Peter, let them in. They should have golden harps, and they should have dance hall girls, and they should have bands to dance with, and not just golden harps, but they should have a great celebration and welcome. It's just one of the most powerful songs I've ever heard. Let them in, Peter.
Oh, that's just amazing. So, will you be going out on the road to sing some of these at
Absolutely, yeah. We have a concert series that we do that's called Wave On Old Glory, Wave On, and it's a combination of songs from this album. And my wife, who I haven't talked to you at all about, she's a retired U.S. Army colonel who was
Wow.
injured at the Pentagon on 9/11, and she ended up with a serious case of post-traumatic stress. And she does a seminar that is an introduction to how to deal with post-traumatic stress for first responders and military family members who are dealing with people that they love who have post-traumatic stress, and how to approach it with a non-pharmaceutical way. My wife has 4 master's degrees. She's got 2 master's degrees in health and wellness, and she's a subject matter expert on how do you deal with post-traumatic stress. So we come and do this concert series where during the day she does a seminar, and then that night I do the concert, and it ends up being a community event that's not just a concert to go hear some music, but it's an event that's originated to empower communities to deal with post-traumatic stress.
Wonderful, Michael. How can our viewers find it? Is there a website for that or?
The best way to find out more information about it is to contact my manager. His email address is pat.melfi, M-E-L-F-I, at gmail.com. And I only say that because the current website that my wife had up that told all about this, if you're having some trouble with it, I looked at yesterday and it's offline for some reason. So normally you would find more about this at This Able Vet, ThisAbleVT. So my wife got tired of having people tell her she was disabled. So she said, no, I'm able. So thisablevet.com. But the website's having some problems right now. So if people want to know more about it, they should just contact my manager and he can fill them in.
Great. And then how do we find out about your two albums? Do we go, is it on your site,
You
StarVista?
can find out, you can find them on any streaming platform. You can go to YouTube, you can go to Spotify, and just type in Michael Peterson, country singer, Michael Peterson, Down on the Farm, or We Are Veterans. And they all were released today. Can you believe it? I'm so excited.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
I am so excited, that's for sure. Wow. So I guess you're working on promoting this. Anything else going on?
Yeah, I'm just working on a new album, and I'm excited to, have another chance to get out and spend moments with people that are memorable and meaningful and timeless.
Yeah. What do you do for fun, Michael?
You
Not like
know
this
what?
is
I
fun.
love to read, I love to write songs, and I love to hang out with my wife and take care of dogs.
Oh, very cool. So what is your writing style? Do you kind of are you a medley first? Are you the words first? Do you hear a word and go, I'm gonna write a song about that? How does it work for you?
More often than not, I get an idea first, and then the words come, and then as the words show up, oftentimes the melody is right there.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. Folks, I'm going to read this little paragraph about him because I like to share this. It says, over the course of Michael's career, he has released 25 studio and live albums selling more than 1.25 million records. Woohoo! As a solo artist, his music has generated over 26.5 million radio airplays and streams worldwide, alongside 9 number 1 songs on the international charts. His work has also reached beyond the stage with 2 songs featured in motion picture soundtracks. He is also an accomplished writer, contributing to 8 books as an author, co-author, and collaborator. What's it like making your first book or writing your first book? What was that like?
Um, it was a surprise because
Yeah.
somebody came and said, "Would you be a contributing author to this book?" And I was a kid who struggled to read and write when I was young, so I never thought that I would ever have a career as a writer. But around my late 20s and early 30s, my brain finally came on came online full. And a lot of people don't know that, but the human brain, especially in men, oftentimes is not fully mature until your late 20s or early 30s.
Wow.
And so there was a part of my brain when I was a kid growing up that was having trouble deciding whether I wanted to be left brain dominant or right brain dominant. And so it affected my vision, which
Really?
then really gave me a lot of problems reading and with reading comprehension. But when I got into my late 20s, early 30s, all of that settled down and kind of figured its way out. So, for me, I look back and say, how did I ever become a writer? Like I was a kid who could barely read, you know. So it's a beautiful story for me of how things can look like you're just out of luck, and then things turn around and turns out that the afternoon knows what the morning never suspected.
Wow. So the next book is how you wrote a book. I mean, there you
Yeah,
go, became a writer,
right.
right?
Yeah.
What about us old folks, 66 and beyond? Is it still never too late, do you think, to write a book?
I remember reading a wonderful book called "If You Want to Write," and
Oh,
it was by a woman, Brenda Euland,
okay.
Ulland. And Brenda Euland was from the Minneapolis area, and she wrote this book after spending her most of her adult life as a coach, helping people in retirement to write their first book. And if you are a person of a certain age and you are thinking of, I always wanted to write a book, but I have no idea how to do it. This book, If You Want to Write, by Brenda Euland, is an incredible book, and it will inspire you and it will help you. And then the other piece of advice I can give is this: there's a platform that's called Storyworth.com. It's one word, Storyworth.com. And my children sent it to me on Father's Day several years ago. And I'm like, well, what is this? And they said, Dad, we don't want to be the kids that someday say, wow, we should have asked Dad these questions. So they sent me 52 questions, and every week I got a question in an email, and all I had to do was answer the question. And at the end of the year, I had 52 chapters of these questions I had answered that my children had asked me to write. And I didn't think, oh, I'm writing a book, but I realized about halfway through, hey, I'm writing a book. I'm telling my story. And it costs $99. And at the end of it, you get a hard-bound book that is all, lined up the way that you would if you had a publisher really do it.
Yeah.
And, if you don't know how to start writing a book, hey, get a bunch of questions and just answer the questions. Storyworth.com. It's incredible. So
Wow.
my wife ended up writing a book that way. I wrote a book that way called My Life in 10 Minutes because I wanted to make sure all my stories were stories you could read in less than 10 minutes. And so, it's a good way to, if you have been intimidated by the thought of writing a book, this is a great place to start.
Oh my goodness, it's a miracle we got to talk because that's what I want to do next year when I retire.
Okay, storyworth.com, check it out. And they'll have 10 thousands of questions you can pick from, but you don't even have to use their questions. Just use your own questions.
Yeah, that's great. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Oh, so do you tour there in Vegas as well, or do you go to Nashville or all over the United States?
I tour all over the world.
The world.
I spent a good bit of time from 2012 to now. Toured a lot in Europe. We've had I think 7 number one hits on the European country music charts. So I've toured a lot in Europe. Crazy things like playing a show in Poland for
Wow.
10,000 people who are country music fans. Like, who knew, right? Just traveling all over Europe. I've performed in Russia. I've performed in Japan. I've performed in 11 countries in the Middle East, UAE, Qatar, Iraq, Afghanistan, Bahrain. Um, so when I say I've toured all over the world, I mean, it's, Mexico, Canada, 47, 48 states in the U.S. I've been blessed. I just have a privilege to spend time with people and try to share something that's meaningful.
Do you remember of all the places you've been, especially in Europe, is there one of those countries that loves country music the most that you loved so much
I
before?
loved Italy.
Italy.
I loved Italy, and we played a concert in Rome that I'll never forget. It was one of those nights where it was just magic, and everything was magic because everywhere you look, there's the Colosseum,
Oh,
there's the statues, there's all this stuff. And then I'm playing a show there, and the food is like out of this world. And I've just had so much fun in Europe, and I've loved all the places I've been, and it's hard to pick one. But when you asked me the question, the first thing that came to mind was Italy. Lake Como. Just so many great memories.
So see, Michael, you can write a book for all the up and coming country stars on where to go and what to do and what to see. So you've got a travel book right there.
Well, maybe so. I can tell them where all the potholes are because I've stepped in most of them.
They have those over there too, huh?
Oh man, well, career-wise, there's a lot of potholes you can step in. So you are
Thank you.
delightful. Thank you so much for having me on.
So excited. Thank you for joining us. And we'll get this out since it's going to be on our YouTube channel, The Hollywood Times Official. And
That's
so you
great.
can share if you like. But congratulations. We
I will
can't wait.
share.
I can't wait to get those to listen to them, especially your second one. Oh,
Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoy them, and I hope
yeah.
that I can visit with you again sometime. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.